going on, guys? Coming to you from the world famous Stubbs Cycles in beautiful Houston, Texas. And oh my goodness, look what I get to bring to you today. This is the Kawasaki ZX6R, aka the 636. And guys, I know it. There's a lot of y'all that would say that this is the best middleweight that money can buy. Well, let's throw a leg over this machine and put that to the test. I gotta tell you, I love the way that this bike looks. The color, that very muted gray, is such an attractive look on this bike. Speaking of an attractive look, this thing's got an amazing looking TFT screen. Seating position, nice and aggressive. I like it. Let's get her fired up. And if you didn't notice, this bike does have an SC Projects exhaust on it. Oh yeah, it sounds really good. All right, enough talking. Let's get this thing on the road. Oh, sounds so good. Now, before I get too deep into this, I've got to send a huge shout out to Hunter, Tommy, and the rest of the crew over at Stubbs Cycles for allowing me the opportunity to bring this machine to you. And already, I can tell you, I am feeling right at home on this bike. Oh, that exhaust sounds mean. Now, this motorcycle is fitted with a one-directional quick shifter. So that's me doing the blips on the downshift, but fitted with a one-directional quick shifter because it is a cable throttle, so no way to do a blip with that cable throttle. But I gotta say, that doesn't bother me too much. Okay, so riding the 636 straight away, this bike's a lot more comfortable than I thought it was going to be. Riding position, very similar to the GSXR family of middleweights, the 600 and the 750. Not very aggressive in terms of foot position. You know, it kind of feels like the GSXR 600 or 750 with its adjustable rear sets on the lower setting. So, good on Kawasaki. This, as a middleweight, could fit a taller rider rather comfortably. As far as suspension, full Showa, fully adjustable, as you would expect. And the way that it's set up from the factory, as this bike is, it's really rather compliant. Again, very similar to how the Suzukis are set up. Similar, if not the exact same fork setup. I'll tell you this, it's soaking up any of these expansion joints and imperfections in the road really nicely. As far as power is concerned, well, we haven't really gotten on it yet, but I gotta tell you, this bike, in terms of just overall smoothness, is very good. Now, a quick tip into the throttle and 6th gear highway speeds. Oh wow. Okay, so yeah, that's not okay. That's nice. So it feels a lot like the GSXR 750. Eerily similar. It doesn't quite have that initial torque hit on throttle. However, it does have a building of power effect. So as those revs are climbing, it is just picking up more and more power as those revs climb up. You feel it more with this motorcycle. Brakes are nice on this bike. I can already start to see why you guys like this bike so much. Let's go ahead and get her on the highway. Oh yeah. So when you're getting on it on this bike, it feels like it's right in between the GSX-R 600 and GSX-R 750. And I guess to elaborate on that, so it feels like it has the initial hit of a 600. So right as you roll into the throttle, it's very much like a 600 as you would expect. I mean, it's only 636 cc's, but as the bike is picking up power, it just keeps stacking power to where by the time you're on the far right of the tack, you're feeling a lot more like the 750 than not. You know, I can't get over how intuitive this bike feels in general, with where my hands are finding a home right here on the handlebars, the foot position. It feels extremely natural to somebody of my size. I'm just shy of 6 feet tall, 32-inch inseam, and I feel like there's room to grow, so to speak, with this bike. Tell you what, I'm having some fun with this thing. Let's extend our test ride just a little bit. Feels very light, as you would expect. All of these 600 sport bikes, you're going to have that light, nimble feel to them, but with this motorcycle, you're not giving up any stability, at least not that you would ever find on any kind of public road. This bike feels nice, planted, and stable. Man, I gotta say, I can see why some of you guys really do aim for the 636 when you're looking to have an addition to the stable that would be a middleweight sport bike. You're definitely not going wrong with this one. So as a comparison, because you have to, but you cannot talk about any of the middleweight sport bikes without bringing in the rest of the competition. In terms of power output, they're all very close. So it's going to be the little subtle nuances that may push you over the top for any one particular bike. Now, where I feel like the ZX6 has an advantage over the competition, straight away it's in this TFT display. That is among the clearest I've ever laid eyes on. It's clear, crisp, there's no lag in it, there's no, like, watch that tack, there's no lag in how the tack reacts. So everything about that TFT screen is going to benefit the rider. But it's not just that, the comfort of this bike. I know I've said it feels like it's got room to grow, but other motorcycles you can't say the same. The CBR 600, definitely not so much. The Suzuki would actually give the most options, I guess you could say, when it comes to foot peg placement. But I can tell you right now, this bike feels great. Just going down the highway, it's very comfortable. I think where riders will start to fall for the 636 is, well, it's 5% larger than a typical 600, and it makes about 5% more power everywhere. But interestingly enough, it maintains the same RPM profile as any other normal 600. Now, what I mean by that is it is a little bit bigger, but normally as engines get bigger, their RPM range will start to drop down. You just can't rev them as high. But the 636 has the same RPM range as the 600, making peak power in stock form at least somewhere around 13,200. Whereas your typical 600 is only a couple of hundred RPM higher than that. And so what that means is that you're not giving up any kind of power, and you're still getting the torque, and you're also still able to rev that bike out like you normally would for a bike of this nature. And so overall, because it is a bigger bike, you get all the benefits of the larger motorcycle in terms of that extra power without giving up what makes these middleweights so great, which is the ability to rev these things and put them through their paces. Oh, this throttle response is so good. It allows for blip downshifts that are absolutely instant, absolutely crisp. Oh, this is a great bike, guys. I am impressed with this. Oh, it sounds so good too. Alright, let's get her back on the highway. That's wild. Okay, so the difference between this bike and other 600s is that you're almost allowed to sort of have your cake and eat it with this bike. It's got a very smooth power delivery from the mid-range down. But as this bike starts to climb in RPM and the power starts to build, you get this rush from around 11,000 RPM up. And it never lays over on the big end. You get the sense that this bike just wants to keep and keep and keep revving. I tell you what, let me try to sum up how the 636 feels to ride by maybe giving you a modification list on a 600, and that'll give you the best idea where this bike would match up. So think of a GSX-R 600, but you've added a couple of teeth to the rear sprocket. That's very similar to how the 636 rides by comparison. Oh, and you tune the 600, and you put exhaust on it. Because this bike has got quite a bit of mid-throttle grunt, in the same way that a re-geared 600 might have. I'm not going to say it's as torquey as a GSX-R 750, because it's not. But when it comes to outright horsepower, they're, from a feel point of view, not altogether that far separated. And I think a lot of that has to do with the 636 having more aggressive gearing from the factory. The transmission gearing. So maybe that's what's adding to the added feel of torque and of shove, and just the way that this bike is putting down power. And like we always talk about, look, if you don't have gearing, or if you don't have torque, but you've got RPM, well, then gearing is what makes up the difference. And however this bike is put together, it takes full advantage of the power delivery of this engine, and it feels so good. All right, so we're going to get this thing to the back lot, as we do. Play around a little bit with the MSF course. Yeah, the slow speed, as you would expect, is nice. There's just something so fun about these middleweights. Just how flickable and point and clickable, is that a word? Is that a term? We'll go with it. Got a little bit slow on that one. Wow, what a fun bike, guys. Look, I can absolutely understand why so many of you guys have been saying, you've got to ride the 636. Man, oh man. Tell you what, it's an amazing motorcycle. Gets down the road beautifully. This thing is making more power than I thought that it would, especially mid-throttle. It picks up better than I really probably gave it credit for before I rode it. I get it now, guys. This is an amazing machine. And if you've got one, I'm a little bit jealous. I wonder what kind of deal I can get on this one. Anyway, guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you've made it this far, I truly appreciate you hanging out with me. Get over here to Stub Cycles, grab the keys of this thing, take it for a spin. I think you're going to love it. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Take care.